What's the worst thing your kid's teacher ever did? My son's kindergarten teacher called me at work saying he'd been acting out and I needed to pick him up immediately. When I got there, she said he'd been hiding under his desk all morning and wouldn't participate in any activities. This was completely out of character. My son Tommy loves kindergarten. He's usually the first one ready every morning, talking non-stop about his friends and what they're learning. Something felt seriously off about the whole situation. I asked what happened right before he started hiding, but she just kept repeating that he was being defiant and disruptive. She wouldn't give me any specifics, just said he needed to learn to follow directions better and that maybe he wasn't ready for the structure of kindergarten. When we got to the car, Tommy was still trembling. His little hands were shaking as he buckled his seatbelt, and he kept looking back at the kindergarten building like he expected something terrible to follow us. I'd never seen him like this before, not even after nightmares. I gently asked what made him want to hide under his desk. He was quiet for a long time, then whispered, "The loud, scary man came back and he brought the monster dog." I was completely confused. What loud man? What dog? Tommy started crying and said they'd brought in a police officer with a big German shepherd for some kind of safety demonstration. The dog had been barking aggressively during the presentation, showing its teeth. My heart immediately sank. Tommy had been attacked by our neighbor's pit bull the year before. He'd needed 12 stitches on his leg and had been terrified of dogs ever since. We'd been working with a therapist for months to help him cope with the trauma. I specifically remembered mentioning this during enrollment. I'd filled out extensive paperwork about his dog phobia and even had a 20-minute conversation with the principal about what accommodations he might need during his time at kindergarten. Tommy told me that when the dog started barking, he got scared and tried to quietly leave the room. But instead of letting him go or comforting him, the teacher grabbed his arm and physically forced him to sit in the front row right next to the officer and his dog. "She said I was being a baby and needed to face my fears," he sobbed. "But the dog kept looking at me and I thought it was going to bite me like the other one did. I tried to tell her about my stitches, but she said I was making excuses." That's when he crawled under his desk and refused to come out. The teacher got increasingly angry and started yelling at him in front of the whole class, calling him disruptive and embarrassing. She even threatened to call me to take him home if he didn't act like a big boy. I was absolutely furious. I immediately called the principal and demanded an emergency meeting for first thing the next morning. When I got there, they claimed they had no record of Tommy's dog phobia in his file, even though I distinctly remembered providing that information multiple times. I went home that night and dug through all my enrollment paperwork. Sure enough, I had documented everything. His therapist's contact information, specific triggers, recommended accommodations, emergency contact procedures. I'd even gotten a formal letter from his doctor outlining his PTSD symptoms. The next morning, I walked into that kindergarten with a thick folder of documentation and my phone ready to record. The teacher tried to defend herself, saying she was just trying to help him get over it and that coddling him would make things worse. I asked her point blank, "Are you a licensed therapist? Would you force a kid with a peanut allergy to eat peanuts to help them get over it?" The kindergarten tried to cover it up initially, but 3 other parents came forward with similar stories. She got fired within a week and lost her teaching license. Tommy got a formal apology from the kindergarten district, and they completely rewrote their policies about student accommodations and trauma-informed teaching practices.